Hello. Okay, I pretty much talked about headwear in, some of the other previous kilt videos, especially I think accessories and whatnot, and I included pictures of most of them in the slideshows before, but it still warrants a closer glimpse. We're mostly only going to be looking at two brands, basically. I mean, there's some other ones that you'll have to kind of hunt and dig, but the two that you'll find that do well, tartan headwear, I should say, is pretty limited in terms of actual quality. But speaking traditionally, starting from the beginning or the beginning-ish, of course, originally you just had the wool bonnet, which is a giant shapeless kind of beret. This one, not the thickest wool, more nice flannel. Uh, should be kind of breathable, no brim. You can kind of pull it forward to try and make a brim. Essentially, none of this headwear is going to be good for sunny weather. It's not, it was designed by peasants 400 years ago or more, just to wear, not as functional as, a hat with a brim or anything. You can't, do much about it. From there, you get modern versions like where you can get like a cheap tartan bonnet version where there's a drawstring. This runs pretty small though, so your results may vary. You might have to open it up and add some fabric or something to get your head in there. uh, there's one or two companies that kind of make that sort of thing, so I have a couple of them, but I don't typically use these because they pretty much only look good with a great kilt. So if you're wearing a great kilt, you might like this. If you're wearing a regular tailored kilt, it might look a little over the top and silly. Again, same with kind of your gift shop tam. This one just has like an elastic thing. This, I my mom, bought this as a joke or whatever, when she was in the airport, and it from a distance nobody can tell that it's just a cheap fake little stupid hat. you know Looks all right for the dead giveaway is the kind of Ronald McDonald pom pom on the top instead of a nicer one. But even the nicer ones aren't necessarily that much nicer, so it's just whether or not you want to wear a plaid hat, I guess. Obviously, the next kind of go to for a lot of guys is just a regular beret. This is, I don't know. I don't know if this is any actual military use. It might be an English one. I had one that a friend gave me as a child that he told me was English Boy Scouts, and I wore it pretty often. Um, just the exact same thing, and it just came from the surplus store for $8 or whatever. And here's a black one of the same thing, which again, this less breathable, a little bit more sweaty. Again, no real sun protection. A lot of people will just wear a flat cap because it's double duty. You can wear this normal or you can wear this with a kilt. Some people think it doesn't look right with a kilt. Does it look more right than a beret? A beret, again, not being, it is a British military thing, but it's not a British kilted military thing because they have their own modified berets that I'll show in a minute. I don't know everything about British military headwear, but I'm pretty sure this is not technically meant to be worn with a kilt. Similarly, I have though a cheap flat cap that you would never know is not a beret. If you want to wear it backwards or something, you can kind of get away with that. This one has a little bit of felt in the front for padding for the brim, just to give it a little integrity, I guess, for no other reason. And again, covers just a little bit more of the face than this would, but I could wear it with a kilt if I really felt like it because it's just a black hat. So instead of that, I'll go with this first. Okay, so yeah. So instead of the beret, which the green one, Let me show the green one first. So this is the standard green one, except I safety pinned a D-League bopper to the top and wore it like that, and nobody had a problem with it. It's a little bit of that bright contrast to, set it off, but not, again, typically meant to be worn with a kilt. Whereas here's the more true version. This one does not have any detailing, any of the kind of, but it does have the ribbon where you can put your clan badge. It has the, I don't know, Piper's ribbon or whatever. This is, it doesn't have exactly the same round shape to it because it's supposed to automatically crush instead of you kind of pulling it to the side to make it, like the French do. I don't have a big poofy French painter beret like the mimes wear. Sorry. So this one, a little bit more shape to it, but also going to cost you 3 times more than the old berets, like I said. And then here's a tan one that comes without the ribbon and without the. It has no placard for your cap badge, but it's a nice color for going with, the weathered kilts maybe. And of course, a nicer dealy bopper at the top there. And the felt a little bit thicker, not it's a lot thicker than the bonnet felt, but not necessarily thicker than the beret felt too much. A little. But again, uh, a little more expensive. That, I guess, logically brings us to the Balmoral, which again is kind of a modified beret, but with a taller standing thing with decorative. Again, this is British military inspired or literally still used by, but a lot of civilians still wear it because it just looks Scottish. So high contrast with the red. This is the cheap, $20 on Amazon version, not the expensive version. You still have the labels here for your. Supposedly, I guess, is to keep the water from collecting on your back of your neck and make it run down your jacket. But I think a lot of guys snip them or wear them and remove them entirely in some cases. Like I said, the brown one didn't even come with that. I just left them as is. I don't care. I don't wear this hat very often because I live in California, so it doesn't really affect me if it has the doodads or not. And the felt, pretty thick. The Dealy Bopper, pretty red. Not, the highest quality. Again, this is the $20 version. And going slightly out of order, then here's just another flat cap that's blue. So if you have a tartan that has a lot of blue in it, if you don't like a pattern, contrasting with your tartan, blue hat. Similarly, should I go? Yeah, all right, fine. So yes, you can get flat caps and Ingles Buchan here, or tartan versions of the Balmoral, same company. And this is going to be much thinner fabric than the actual felt, so a little more breathable. Very bold, though. Again, if you don't want to wear a tartan hat because it's just over the top, then there's that. But I bought this one to wear with a kilt, and then I bought this one to wear if I want to wear it with a kilt. I can. If I don't want to wear it with a kilt, it just has this stretchy thing, so it's supposed to be one size fits all. How accurate that is, I don't know. I haven't had an issue, but I don't have that big of a head. So again, you might these, especially this company, seems to take forever to get their hats out. These I bought a while ago. I'm still waiting. On the other hand, and as I've shown in some of my slideshows, uh, some of them you can get like a matching tie, but Locharron, again, as I said in the other video, this hat and this tie match pretty well, but then they don't match the kilt. necessarily if you get the like if you get the 13-ounce weight, maybe. If you get the 16-ounce weight, it might not match. Stuff like that. I have one that's a 13-ounce kilt in a different tartan that does not match the hat and the tie at all. This is a different hat and tie than that photo, but same idea. So some guys again think it's over the top to wear a tartan tie with a tartan hat and a tartan kilt and da da da. And so you can wear this with a sport jacket, and regular trousers, and be, representing or whatever without, having to wear a whole kilt though. Whereas I think that with a kilt, again, more people will see this as a kilt hat. But again, well, I just put it down. You can see how from one brand to another, the colors don't match necessarily. So this Locharron, I don't know if this will match their kilt because I don't have their kilt, but I do know that this will match a Martin Mills 16 that's darker brown and this bluer blue. Not a dead ringer, but a lot closer than this kind of yellowish green brown. So you kind of have to play it back and forth to get ones that go together. And this bag wants to stick to this bag, so that's just be it. Okay. And again, same problem I had with this one is that this has all this icy blue in it, so it doesn't match the kilt that I bought it to match. I have to get that kilt from a separate mill if I want it to match. And I don't usually buy kilts to try and match hats because that's like a lot of money. And so, okay. Similarly, I got this Stuart hunting one in a regimental weight, so it looks dark aqua instead of green. It was on special. It has the exact same ribbed deal there, so however many years that lasts, till you need to, have a tailor kind of reform something to go there to hold your hat together. The bonnet that fell to the ground. So you can see it's a slightly different color than the Stuart. This is an acrylic, but same principle. The Stuart in a lighter weight will have more of a green tone, and this 18-ounce regimental weight will look a lot darker, a lot more blue. And in the middle, we have the flat cap. That is a different clan, but same idea. I just got this one out of the way. Okay, so almost rounding out this category, but not quite. We have this kind of mushroom version tam, where it has octagonal sections. I think more women prefer this style. Certain tartans were only available in this style, but this is, again, Locharron, not that other brand. Again, it has a rib. It has no brim. It's just a poof thing. It's in a couple of my other photos. So you can kind of beret it, but it doesn't have the structure or the ribbon or anything. This is the only one of this style I have. To me, it's kind of an update of that first cheap one. Pardon me. Where'd it go? I don't know. Okay, it fell under the desk. Anyway, like I said, the amorphous kind of style of this, it's to me, it's similar to that gift shop one, except that it's much nicer wool. That only, I could only get this tartan in that style, so I was kind of stuck. So then that brings us to the decent quality Balmorals, which these will cost you more. But again, the ribbon, you can customize the checkerboard. So if I wanted light brown here to contrast with this, for example, instead of white, if I want to match a specific tartan, or if I want blue and green, I think it's a little busy, so I kind of go the safe route and go with white. I think they offer it in just plain too, same as the other one. The ribbon, pretty much the same ribbon. There's not really a jump in quality in nylon, ribbon, but These come in head sizes though, so you actually have to know your head size, not just large, medium. Made by Robert Mackie, so you can find where to get these if you're more interested. Again, though, pretty thick, heavy felt. Not very useful for me practically in California most of the time. I do see some guys wearing them in the warm weather, and I think they're brave souls. Because I can't pull it off. I usually have to wear a brimmed hat, and my face still gets burned. And then, of course, we come to the not beret, the most structured of them all, the Glengarry with the ribbon and the other ribbon. And again, these are typically fitted, although you can kind of fudge it. If you get one that's a little too big, you can kind of sew it together here, maybe stitch it on the end so it still fits without having to go through the, return and guess problem. But if it's too small, you're just going to be uncomfortable. I'm not exactly sure how far they're supposed to open out when you wear them. I think some people like to wear them higher and some people like to wear them lower. So if you really, wear it low, it's going to look more like a box than a wedge, I guess. I don't know what to geometric shape that would exactly be. And so it's got the little doot on the top there and a little bit of lining, but still a warm felt hat again, borrowed from the military again, where a lot of them will trim them to about here, I think. Um, I have a couple. I have one that I actually bought to match a kilt, but the kilt is this cheap acrylic that they overcharged me for, and the hat is much nicer than the kilt, so I haven't actually worn it, and I'm not sure if I want to buy the nicer kilt because I already paid too much for the two kilts they sent me. But then similarly to the other ones, I didn't bring that one in, but like I said, you can also find these in tartan. So I have a black watch one just because I'm silly. And when I first started buying these things, I thought, oh, I definitely need a black watch hat, and then realized I probably don't. So that's why I bought the green one. And again, if you wear this most of the time, you will just look like a bagpiper unless you're going for a kind of more traditional look. Yeah, mid 1800s or whatever. I think you can get away with this. So again, if you're trying to do a costumey kilt look or a vintage kilt look, or if you just want to look like a bagpiper, that's pretty much your other option. So what was that? 4, 5, 6 styles of hat. So there's actually a pretty big range, but most of them look kind of the same. and whether or not you want to get them in tartan or heavy felt is kind of up to you. It's again, I don't get to wear them that often because it's usually too warm here. So I put a little slideshow at the end this time.